Hello to all of you. It's really great to be here. I want to begin by thanking Roseanne Faust and SAMCEDA for inviting me to speak today. This is a story of success for San Mateo County. We have so many leaders in the room who've been doing this work to weave safety nets together across the county for our children. And it truly is a success story, but it's an ongoing story that needs continuing work. As we know, children are our most valuable asset in our community, so each one of us has a role to play. One of the sobering realities of our contemporary society is mass casualty violence. In fact, on May 31st, only 10 days ago, we lost 12 people and had 4 people seriously injured in Virginia Beach who were injured by a disgruntled employee. So none of us can escape this sobering fact. But what I'm here to talk to you about today is the ways in which is to inspire the idea that we actually can do something, that there are things that we can do, and we're going to do that by working across partnerships, by working across disciplines, by working across agencies to weave these nets together. And I want to share the story of what we've done so far in San Mateo County. But before I do that, I want to begin with a little bit of personal context. I began my career as an educator in San Diego. I was a high school English teacher for 17 years. I enjoyed the routine of preparing lessons for my students, engaging with students, coaching athletes, mentoring my fellow teachers. And then one day, March 5th, 2001, that all changed when a 15-year-old freshman boy came to his school, with his father's weapon loaded, and he proceeded to fire indiscriminately for several minutes until at the end of that, we had lost 2 students, 1 freshman, 1 senior. 13 people were injured. A community was shattered in the process. So for me, sometimes things can knock you down hard. This one took the breath away, and it was hard to recover. But what we know is that we have to keep on going. We have to be able to heal and move forward. We have communities out there who are going through the process of healing all over America because of this challenge that we face. I've seen the cycle now over and over and over again. It begins with, I can't believe that it happened here. I could never imagine that this was going to happen to us. And there's a barrage of media. The story gets told over and over again. There's funerals, there's mourning, then there's outcry and outrage, there's political fallout, and then everybody moves away and the community is left to try to heal itself. One of those communities that's still healing is the Newtown community. This is where the San Mateo County story begins, is December 14th, 2012, when this national tragedy shook our psyche, where we lost 20 6- and 7-year-olds and 6 educators to an act of senseless violence. And what happened on that day was the leaders of San Mateo County stood up and came forward and said, we must do something. The question was, what can we do in this community to strengthen our schools, to strengthen our safety? So what we did in this very room, only 4 months later, was convene all the leaders of the various stakeholder groups together to discuss. We spent a very deep day in community learning and conversation, and everyone left that room with a commitment to do their part. So what we ultimately ended up with was a year of very deep work. And what these circles and what these threads represent here are school safety. We developed the Big Five protocol. I'll talk about that in a minute. We went very deep on mental health work and how do we coordinate and communicate across the county. And how do we work on the legal aspect of all this so that we actually can connect the dots when it's important and try to help students recover from deep crisis. What came out of it is the Coalition for Safe Schools and Communities. It's an ongoing group of community members who provide leadership and vision for this ongoing effort. This is not something we can ever stop, but one of the things that we have accomplished is the Big Five protocol. Imagine that you're trying to create a common language across the county with 23 school districts and 20 municipalities, each with their own way of talking and doing things. So how do you create something and help everybody adopt this common language? Well, everybody has to lean in. Remember when we're rooted back in the tragedy of Newtown, this is the time to step outside your comfort zone and your boundaries and try to make something happen together. So what we did develop was a county-wide protocol that we currently share and train and practice all over from East Palo Alto to Bayshore and Daly City. One of the most effective things we're doing through the coalition is threat assessment. Threat assessment is when young people express the desire to do harm, and sometimes they're just saying words or reacting, and sometimes they have serious intent. How do you determine which is which? So this is the timeline of the effort we've invested in the San Mateo Coalition threat assessment process. 6 years of work. You can see that in 2018, we actually rolled out the protocol. And in 2019, it's been so successful that there is now an adult threat assessment process that follows the same set of tools. This is a graphic of an information sharing agreement that was crafted in 2015 that essentially says, we understand the rules of information sharing, we agree to follow them, and we're going to lean in together and work on this. This is signed by all the leaders of San Mateo County. 30 different leaders are on this piece of paper. Since we've implemented the threat assessment process, we have a level 1, which is at the school level. If something is too complicated or more concerning, it gets referenced up to the level 2 team. The level 2 team works at the county. This graphic indicates the number of cases that have been heard in the last year by the level 2 team in San Mateo County. And what's happening in these threat assessment protocols is everyone is pooling their resources. How do we help this student? How do we support this family? How do we provide support to the school district so that this student can move back into health and away from the juvenile justice system? This is our threat assessment team. It meets every Monday for as long as they need to, but typically 2 hours. They hear the cases that get referenced up. These are all partners from across our different departments, our Board of Supervisors, and they're doing amazing work. This is the final where we've gotten to with the Coalition for Safe Schools and Communities. I started with safety nets. These are all the different safety nets that we've been working on and created trainable materials that we're supporting school districts across the county every single day. So I can't think of anything that's more important to step across lines, step across divisions, and weave together than ensuring the health, wellness, and happiness of the children in our community. So thank you very much for your time.